Hello and welcome to EatSure presents the RCB podcast.
It is somebody was telling me, it is the most watched YouTube sports video ever in the history of sport, in the history of YouTube, whatever that is, highest I believe.
Yeah?
And the second most watched sports video ever is the 19th over. It's amazing how it works.
It has 22 crore views. That means 22 crore people have seen you play those 6 balls. So there are 2 videos, one obviously of the whole thing, and then probably there's a single or whatever between you and another gentleman. They've edited that person out and they've just put a video of you. And that video has 13 crore views. Just talk us through that game. Now, what happened?
So the backstory was that we played in Sri Lanka, Nidahas Trophy, and Sri Lanka had won their first 2 matches in that league phase. It was a tri-nation tournament, so each one had to play each other twice. In the first 2 games, they had won, and so they had put one foot in the final. It so happened that they ended up losing their last 2 matches, and rather badly so, and won to Bangladesh. And then they ended up losing out on a chance in the final. And when they lost the second game, I think Bangladesh had a go at them and did something like Nagin dance, this, that, and all that. And one bowler took 1 wicket and celebrated that way, and they got very pissed apparently. So that final, the whole Sri Lanka turned up, I thought. Their only aim was to see Bangladesh lose.
Hello and welcome to the RCB podcast. My name is Dinesh and we're talking about game-changing moments. And with me is a game changer who's literally been a game changer for RCB this year. Dinesh, Karthik. DK, firstly, I have to ask you this question. Every time we're at the stadium and on that big LED board, when they flash the names of the players, we're so used to it within RCB considering we've been here for such a long time. So there's player A, there's player B, and then there's Virat Kohli, and the entire stadium is going. It's like noise. And then player C, player D, and then you get to Dinesh, Karthik, and again there is this. It must be an incredible feeling, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think you play sport for many reasons, and one of the main reasons is obviously to get a lot of love and affection from the people who watch the sport, people who are fans of the sport, young kids. And when you get that, you feel very happy. And so it's a very special feeling. It's something that every sportsman, every artist, every musician, whoever it is, craves for and is very grateful for, and something that they should be very grateful for.
Going back to all the years that you started playing cricket initially, do you remember a moment where it was almost like, this is what I want to do for a living?
No. I was always...
Was this always plan A?
Yeah.
There was never a plan B?
No, plan B was to do plan A well. Simple. I think I just kept consistently... As I said, my goal was always to be a world champion. And I always believe that if you're good, nobody can stop you. These were the 2 lifelines that I kept working myself around on every day of my life. So playing the sport, being part of the sport was never in doubt, never in question for me. That's the only thing I know. I love my sport. I love the whole cricketing journey. I love all the people who are associated with it. In many ways, we're all connected, for very many reasons. I think as a cricketing world, we have one big family. I always believe in that. And
this is across borders, across...
Yeah.
You were 19 when you debuted for India at Lord's. And you had one unbelievable stumping in that game. And Lord's is sort of this ground where you speak to any cricketer and they're like, man, it's a dream to play there. And you debuted so young. What was going through you that day?
Very excited actually. I got my opportunity in the last game of a NatWest series against England. In what they still call the House of Cricket, the home of cricket in Lords. So it was a beautiful ground. I'd never been to it before. When I was about 12, 13 years old, I'd gone on a trip to England, and one of the in the itinerary rather was a trip to Lords. So that was the one time I'd gone there before, and I remember Angus Fraser and Justin Langer were playing for Middlesex, and so we were in the stand. They always take tourists. You can go; they'll show you from the side of the grounds in the stand. So I just went. We were a group of 20 people, so we went. We stood, and we watched the match for about 10, 15 minutes. And Angus Fraser will be bowling, Justin Langer will be at slip. There'll be Middlesex versus some other game. So. I watched that for 10, 15 minutes, and then I walked out. And obviously I never imagined I'll be part of that. I mean, I'll be playing in that ground. But a few years later, I ended up having my debut there, and it was a good game. I did well as a wicket keeper, and most importantly, Team India won. And it was a slightly low scoring game, so it was a very good game, a bit of a thriller, and we ended up crossing the line, so it was good.
But it's not like the first time or the last time that happened, because you yourself have been a part of so many thrillers. Usually, being at the end of the deal where you are clinching that thriller. Was it something that always drove you as a child as well, to be the guy who kind of gets those clutch moments?
No, I don't think so. I think, through my, career as an under 14, under 16, under 19 and all, I used to be a good stroke maker, but I was never known for finishing matches or, Dinesh, Karthik is there, he'll finish this game, nothing like that. I think I was just a normal guy who used to just to keep hitting balls, made so many mistakes along the way when chasing totals. So, I've learned it in the last 5, 6 years, and I've become a lot better at it working with Abhishek. So I think the key for me was through my initial years. I was always known to be a stroke maker, and so that is always stroke making ability is always perceived as talent, and luckily I had some. So I kept getting better at it, and through the years as I played in my journey, I got better at it. I learned to handle pressure, understand pressure a lot better, deal with it a lot better.
So it's awesome, right? You mentioned something about people saying you were a stroke maker, but this whole thing of finisher was never a tag, and now it is a tag. People say you're the best finisher we have right now. From this stroke maker to finisher tag, what has your personal growth been?
So what happens, as a middle order batsman, the one thing that you're dealt with every time, no matter what happens, is there is pressure. Either you're chasing a total which is slightly ahead of what you can reach, or you're in a bit of a bad weather situation and you're trying to figure out how to take the team forward to safer waters, so to say. So off the field, what happens is how that reflects, I've noticed, is if there's a tough situation in the house, there are some decisions to be taken. I have a lot of clarity. If I want to take a decision, I will push myself in one direction which I feel is right for me and my family. So I've always noticed that. I've always believed you are a reflection of what you are as a batter outside the field as well. You're absolutely a reflection of that. If you're somebody if you see, I'll be very fidgety in the ground a little bit. That is me. Somebody who's very fidgety, but inside I'm somebody who's it's a lot like I keep thinking of this analogy a lot. I'm like a lot like the water with a lot of depth. Upwards I might be shrill and moving a bit, but down I'm calm, and there's a certain sense of stability and clarity to what I'm thinking. I know, okay, this is the way I want to go, and I'll try and push myself in that direction exactly. So off the field, when I've practiced, and the beauty about practicing with Abhishek as well has been the fact that it's just not been on the field. We have done things a lot off the field as well. Basic things.
To grow personally and professionally, is it?
Personally, I think I was always a very decent, solid guy. There was never a problem with that.
Nice.
But you needed to do certain things off the field and be consistent with that to get your mind to be consistent and, in a certain align yourself to think in a certain way when you're batting. You needed to do certain things consistently off the field too. You can't just be very frivolous and just be all over the shop outside.
Like, can you give us an example of something like that?
Like many years ago, one of the simple things that we did was a conversation that in fact came about after I had my year with RCB. When I went back and I reflected, and Basu sir, Malolan, both were there, and they'd come to my house and said, "Okay, let's start doing something simple in life."
So we're talking about the season.
2014.
And how did that season go for you?
For the team, it went phenomenally well. For me, again, it definitely didn't go according to how I wanted it to go.
Okay.
So when that happened, I wanted to reflect and figure out, and that is when I started working with Abhishek. But before that, there was a small time there in between where I had to figure out what is the thing. So they said, okay, let's start doing simple things. So one of the goals given to me was consistently brush my teeth in the night. Until today, I'm doing it. So there is consistency there.
Wow.
So simple things. There is no rocket science to it. Consistency in doing simple things, and that has helped me streamline my thinking. I think people a lot of the times look at the bigger picture, which is very, very important, but sometimes forget to do the small things right consistently. I think that is what will help you in your vision. I think that is very important. So for me, it was something as simple as just brushing my teeth every day before I go to bed, and I still follow it. I do it every day meticulously. So it just kind of centers me. So with Abhishek as well, he's given me a few things. I don't want to talk about everything, but there are things that I do which are very mundane, very basic, but I try and follow it consistently.
So your journey in the Indian team has been again one of those fairy tales where invariably it's a happy ending when you've gone out there. It's been always great for fans to watch. I'm sure you've discussed this a million times before, but there's no way in hell we can't talk about that Nidahas Trophy final when you went absolutely berserk. How many times have you spoken about it?
A lot more than I would want to.
Did that over sometimes again, right, pop culture. I'm not talking about astute cricket readers who are watching every ball going, that's delightful, sir. I'm not talking about that crowd. I'm talking about the crowd that is DK. For them, it is Nidahas mein kya finish kiya. Does it follow you till date as well everywhere?
Yeah.
It does?
I love it as well. It is somebody was telling me, it is the most watched YouTube sports video ever in the history of sport. In the history of YouTube, whatever that is. Highest, I believe.
Yeah?
And the second most watched sports video ever is the 19th over. It's amazing how it works.
It has 22 crore views. That means 22 crore people have seen you play those 6 balls. So there are 2 videos, one obviously of the whole thing, and then probably there's a single or whatever between you and another gentleman. They've edited that person out and they've just put a video of you. And that video has 13 crore views. Just talk us through that game. Now, what happened?
So the backstory was that we played in Sri Lanka, Nidahas Trophy, and Sri Lanka had won their first 2 matches in that league phase. It was a tri-nation tournament, so each one had to play each other twice. In the first 2 games, they had won, and so they had put one foot in the final. It so happened that they ended up losing their last 2 matches, and rather badly so, and won to Bangladesh. And then they ended up losing out on a chance in the final. And when they lost the second game, I think Bangladesh had a go at them and did something like Nagin dance, this, that, and all that. And one bowler took one wicket and celebrated that way, and they got very pissed apparently. So that final, the whole Sri Lanka turned up. I thought their only aim was to see Bangladesh lose
Yeah.
badly. And for a majority, first half, obviously, it was I don't exactly know how much they scored. They did decently well. Wasn't too bad. Wasn't too good. And the second half came and they were way ahead in the game. They were like, they're just dominating us. We were struggling. So it came down to a stage where we needed 2 overs, 30 some more, 30.
34 runs of 12 balls.
12 balls. And I was padded up to go. I padded up in the second over, I think. Second or third over. So I'm waiting. Generally, I go in around the 10th over, 11th over. Then I stood up and Rohit said, no, wait. Somebody else goes. I said, okay. I waited. 15th over, something, one wicket fell. So I thought, surely I only have to... No, wait. So I said, okay. Then one more person went in. So I was waiting. By the time 18th over, somebody correctly got out. I think Manish, got out. 17.5 or something got out. So it was my turn now. There's nobody after this. Only Ravi Shastri could bat, I think. Nobody else could bat. So I was waiting. So I went. 2 overs 34 means obviously you have to try and have a go at as many balls as you can. So then obviously I started hitting, and then they brought out the Nagin dance in a big way, those guys, and we ended up winning the match. So when you're facing 2 overs 34, obviously you're thinking about where to hit boundaries and all that. So I was calculating, okay, I'll hit here, and I got myself into good positions, played some good shots, and they didn't see it coming because they had obviously done really well. That bowler also had bowled really well.
Rubil Hossain.
He bowled really well. So there are a lot of things going their way. It was coming out nicely from his hand. So I hit a couple of good shots, and then whatever, it just happened, and got lucky. And then again, the last over, we needed 1 over 12, and this guy was just delivering Yorker after Yorker after Yorker perfectly. So we couldn't get under it. One edge 4 game, luckily from somewhere, and everything came 1 ball, 5 runs, I think it was. And then this guy was the top of his mark, and I'm thinking, okay, wherever he bowls, I'll hit it. And I believe as he's running in, I believe that okay, I can definitely do it, because before that, too many people were talking to him and giving advice and all that. So I thought, okay, this might be slightly nervous or confused. And I was pretty sure, okay, this guy, wherever he bowls, I hit it. And he bowled decent ball, actually. It's not a bad ball. It was outside the off stump, what the bowling coaches generally would want you to do. Outside the off stump, slightly full. But I connected it well. And big grounds. And Sri Lanka generally very big grounds compared to India. So I still ended up hitting it correctly. It went over the boundary for a 6, and we won that tournament. It was a year-ending tournament, just before the IPL, end of the international calendar for us for that year. So a lot of young guys were there. So it all kind of came together very, very well. Rohit was one of his early days as a leader. And a very young team. Mia was there, and Jay Devanatkat, a lot of Virats, Bumrahs, all these guys took a break. So we were a pretty young team, but ended up doing phenomenally well. Washington Sundar was the man of the series in that tournament. He bowled brilliantly, and I just helped cross the line, and it was good to have Washington at that end when I did, and we are good friends, and it's a lovely memory. I think, as a sportsman, as an artist, you're always not remembered for everything. Some 1 or 2 things here and there that people always remember you for, and I think this will always go to the grave, I guess, with me.
Did Rubil Hossain have a chat with you after that?
Nobody from the Bangladesh team till now has chatted to me about it, except Shakib. We said we were supposed to go in a private jet after that. Because of what you did, we didn't get private. We had to go normal flight.
Economy or business?
You were just joking, I guess, but this is the only conversation we had. But nobody from the Bangladesh team obviously spoke or anything. They were a little disappointed, like anybody would be.
DK, street, right? This is street talk that I'm telling you right now. There was Dinesh, Karthik, and then came MS Dhoni. And we wish there were 2 keepers allowed in cricket, because then we could have seen 2 great brains on the field together. When you look back, sometimes do you feel the opportunities that you got, unfortunately because of the situation there was, do you feel that there was a lot more that could have been given to you? How do you look at it?
Look, I started before him. Like when I say I started before him, I made my debut. We went together to India on an India A tour, and from there I got picked for the Indian team. He was still there in the Indian A team.
And you guys played together in that
So
game?
yeah, that was the first time we played at 4-day match together. And
Okay.
I did so well that they picked me to the Indian team from there.
Okay.
And then from there, they went on another trip and there was a 1-day tournament. He blasted it there. He blasted it means people stood up and said, there's nobody like him. That's a special player. Like, and then obviously I came to the Indian team, but then by then the Dhoni mania was so big that you had to pick him. Like, they had to pick him. He had performed so well in that series, which was a good series. It was India, Pakistan, I think one more team, and Kenya, if I'm right. And he blasted them, like bombarded them with 4s and 6s. And not many, the world was getting used to something like that kind of a thing. So he came in. And then obviously he replaced me in all formats and he did really well. Look, it's all about taking opportunities. You got to be ready to take up opportunities and deal with pressure.
When one person goes on to achieve so much, especially when you started together, what was the grounding thing in you to say that grit to say that no, I'll still stick around and do my thing because there is a space for him and for me, for both of us to exist?
I was chasing excellence. I was constantly in the path of becoming the best cricketer in the world. Whether Dhoni was there, Dhoni wasn't there. That was not my lookout. He was doing very well for himself. I knew at a point that he had settled in all teams. My constant...
There was a realization, isn't
yeah,
it?
that, he's going to be the first keeper in Test and one day. There's no doubt about it.
Do you remember that moment and how you processed it? Because you must have been young, right? You must have been very young.
He made no mistake at the start. He got an opportunity. They sent him up the order. He got 100. He came to Test match. He started with an 85. He kept brilliantly. And most importantly, he became a brand overnight. Like, people were after him. He was huge. He was a hugely successful, popular sports person right from the outset. Not many people had seen something like that. And they were enjoying it. He was going at the rate of knots.
Oh yeah, he almost eclipsed just greatness straight up. Yeah.
Straight up. He just was, he was ticking all the right boxes, doing all the right things and taking on the cricketing world. They're all, obviously standing up and saying, whoa, who's this guy? He's like phenomenal. I was always the understudy in terms of being the second wicketer through. I didn't have a problem. But I was always looking to do something special. How can I get into the team? So, when I got an opportunity, when I came back to domestic cricket, I'll open. I'll score runs. I'll try and come into the team as an opener. Then, I'll keep pushing. Whenever the Indian team did take me, they always knew that I wasn't just a second wicket keeper.
Yeah.
Some batsmen somewhere got injured, Dinesh will fit in, be it middle order or opening, domestic. Wherever we played, I used to get enough runs to say that I'm ready to bat anywhere. So my name was always there, and the best part about Dhoni was he was always, whenever given the opportunity, he'd always pick me. He'd obviously make me play, and I played a lot with him.
In 2007, he handed over the gloves to you. It was one of those games when he handed the gloves to you and fielded himself. What transpired that game? Do you remember?
He had a bit of a back niggle.
Okay.
So I was playing in the 11 with him. So he had a bit of a back niggle. So he felt, it's okay, you keep, I'll field. So there's nothing more to it than that. So he was very chill. He was, we had gone to that stage in the game where we were slightly safe. I think about 3-4 wickets had fallen, if not more. And the main guys had gotten out. And he had a back niggle. We had a game around the corner a couple of days. So he was aware of it. So he was happy to field. So he went and fielded. So that way he's a very clear, very clear person. So he knew that I was there in the team. So he just said, okay, you keep. I just want to field. And that's about the conversation we had. And I ended up keeping that game.
So, DK, how much has Deepika's presence in your life made a difference to you and to your career?
Massive, because look, she's a sports person.
Correct.
As I said before, she knows.
And super successful in her field.
Definitely. There is no doubt. She is somebody who's achieved, whatever is possible in that field. And she's done phenomenally well for us. She's done a lot of things that is first for an Indian to do in that field of sport, which is something that is, as a family, we're very proud about. But at a very basic level, she's a great person to be around. She's fun. She's very witty. I like a sense of humor. She's chill, and as I said before, because she has played sports, she understands failures and successes, as well as anybody can. So that helps. That helps in many ways to keep the sanity and sanctity of the house consistent, and there is no up and down depending on how I go or she goes. That in the house is very very
And
stable.
now you have the kids as well, so that should just make it all the more balanced, I guess. Now it doesn't matter what you do on the field, so long as you come back to them.
Definitely, I mean, it's a great feeling to go
Yeah.
back to kids and play with them and spend time with them and see them grow. Like everybody else, we are excited. We are first time parents, so we are also looking at it and going, "Wow, this is how it happens." But it's been a lot of fun. I think God's been very kind and blessed us with two lovely kids. So the journey so far has been very very good.
But you've dabbled with a bunch of things, right? I mean, you started out so young. You've dedicated probably your entire life to this game. You're probably one of those people who's done very little otherwise and just played cricket from a very young age. And then you dabbled with a bit for commentary and you were extremely successful there as well. I mean, people were losing their mind when you were on air. Did you expect that sort of a response?
No, you've been part of this industry for so long, Danish. You don't expect those kind of accolades coming your way.
But the accolades that came were coming in thick and fast. Everybody was like, this is the guy. Just get him on air all the time. Ask the other guy to keep quiet and stuff like that.
It was good fun. I enjoyed commentary. In the little stints that I did, I think I enjoyed speaking about the game, looking at it very analytically, at the same time trying to, you know, get something meaningful across to everybody who's watching the sport. So, I always tried and made sense out of a situation my own way and tried to articulate it in the way I thought it was right.
No, but like for example, I remember at the World Cup in UAE, the T20 World Cup, I got to hang a lot with Shane Watson and Dale Steyn. And literally everybody in the commentary box was talking about this breath of fresh air that these two guys brought. And it was very similar with you as well. I'm just asking you this question as purely a viewer, right? I mean, the game has gotten younger. Sometimes do you think the guys calling the game also need to be younger?
Interesting. It's a very interesting question. I think
Because when they say things like always ground your bat when you take a single, like, sure, bro, you said that in 1990, we get it. Like, the game's moved on from there now. Do you think?
it's still a basic of the game that needs to be followed. I understand where you're coming from. There's space for everybody, but I think it's very good that a Shane Watson and a Dale Steyn, because they're new voices. Anything that is new and
Like
fresh
you.
is always different, and you enjoy. My biggest accolade came from the person that I least expected it from, MS Dhoni. He called me like, Dinesh, come here. I said, yeah, I really enjoyed your commentary. It was very, very good. Well done. I was like, wow, thank you so much. So that is big. Obviously, he watches a lot of sport, I'm sure, and to hear him say that was really good. And I was happy he enjoyed my commentary.
But even the British media, the broadcasters, they were all extremely thrilled to work with you. What was it like for you? Because it's not like you've left the game or rather stopped playing the game. So were there moments, and you can answer them, were there moments when you were watching the game going like, oh man, I could do that too. Like I wish I was there and not here. Were there moments of that?
No, not really. You know why? Because I think when I'm doing something, I try and get immersed in that. I don't try and. I'm not a very. I would like to believe that I won't be a disgruntled cricketer. It's only I feel when you're something left, then you will feel that, oh, I could have done that. I wish I was there playing like that. I'm happy with where I am. So when I went into commentary also, I was enjoying. Then when I've come back to playing now, I'm thoroughly immersed in that. During the time that I'm doing that, I'm enjoying right now. Right now, if you tell me to do commentary, I'll struggle. I think right at that stage when I was so immersed in commentary and just trying to become, trying to do things properly. If you told me to go and practice in between that, I would have been like, no. Like once I'm into something, I try and do a good job at it. So when I was doing my commentary, I was enjoying it. I was trying to figure out when to say tonality, how to raise the voice here, reduce the voice here.
No, that I remember hanging with you in 2014, and I think one thing that's remained constant about you in the last 8 years is your curiosity. You're just a very curious person. Like, you're a cat. You're just curious. You'll walk up to a camera guy and be like, "Can I know about your camera?" You're that guy. Have you always been that guy?
Yeah. I think curiosity is something that is a very integral part of me. I want to learn about things, understand about things, learn some new things. So that is something that is a very innate part of my personality. And
And is that something that's kind of helped you reinvent the wheel constantly?
could be 100%. It's a lovely way to put it. Because I've been so curious about the game. Somebody plays a shot, I'd be like, okay, wow. And then I'm trying to think, okay, why did he play that? How did he play that? And all that. So maybe that's part of thinking. It's a very nice way. You actually opened up a certain thought of mine. I think it's very correct. Maybe because curiosity is something that is, as I said, a very strong part of my personality.
Yeah, so I've basically now we've been a part of an unlock and an unbox. We did the unbox event, and people were losing their mind when they saw you there. Um, does stuff like that kind of just add to the fire when you've gone out this season to bat? Just to know that so many people still pin so many of their hopes and aspirations on you. Because at the end of the day, a guy just wants to go home and sleep after his team has won. Does that fire keep you going as well?
100%. Look, at the end of the day, we are all where we are because of the fans. The normal man who's switching on the TV, watching it for us.
Yeah.
And you play for them. You want them to be happy. You do something special. You put a smile on their face before they go to sleep. That is a very special feeling. That is very important. One of the main reasons that people play sport is to obviously achieve something. But also, if the fans are not there, you are not what you are. If this sport wouldn't be where it is. This tournament, IPL, is a great example of what fans are. I mean, you see every match, weekday, weekend, doesn't matter. Packed.
Yeah.
50% capacity means 50% is their boss. No matter who plays in Bombay, it doesn't matter. Every game they turn up. There is a problem, shortage of tickets.
Yeah.
There is never the other way around.
Yeah.
So we are all very blessed and we are very lucky in India that we have such fans. But our RCB Unbox event was such a great event. You realize what RCB means to the fans when you get there. To be there from the afternoon on a hot day, all the way leading up to a 10-hour, 12-hour event, not seeing anybody for the first 4 or 5 hours, but still shouting with the hope that you're going to catch a glimpse of that person. It's a very special feeling. You feel very warm, you feel very happy, you feel very grateful.
Yeah.
And then when you play the sport, all these guys will be happy. Whoever came to the Unbox event will definitely be watching this team. There is no doubt.
Yeah.
And we can proudly say that we have one of the strongest fan bases across the board. In world sport, we'll be right up there.
Yeah.
It's just not. In time, we'll definitely be there. But the strength of RCB obviously is the undying, unwavering loyalty that the fans give. And I'm a big, in many ways, I'm completely attracted to the energy that the fans give.
That's insane.
It's just they're very, very loyal fans, I feel.
It's insane. And the fact that, like, for example, when you got that 66 of 35 balls, and the moment that happened, everybody went crazy saying this man needs to be in the World Cup team. Now get him in there. One guy on Twitter wrote, "I'll give him air tickets. Let him just fly right now and wait there for us." What does all that do to you? Does it kind of, for a moment at least, distract you from what is happening now?
No, if at all anything, it pushes me to do better because I like the feeling of people wanting me in the Indian team. It's such a good feeling. For a year or two, I've not had it, so I know what it is. I can feel it. I've missed it. It is not something that has been associated with me for a couple of years now. So when I'm getting people saying it, I'm really enjoying it. So I want that feeling to constantly be there. So I'm trying that much harder to make sure that I'm consistent at what I'm doing, and obviously try and do as well as I can for my team. And in turn, these things will definitely come along as well. But I enjoy that.
And it's awesome, right? Because I remember you telling me, or I don't know if you spoke to, did I read it in a publication somewhere about you saying that I haven't done complete justice to myself, and that's what I want to do right now. When did this sort of realization come to you? Because I feel like that's a game changing moment for you personally.
For about 2 3 years, I thought I've practiced really well preparation in the lead up to the tournament. Once obviously COVID came and that derailed the whole thing. Then my practice went haywire, so it wasn't the same. But I've been trying really hard, really hard, really hard. So I just feel things just came together this year, and as I said, along with Abhishek, the journey has been with a lot of ups and downs. It's not easy, all the work that you do and behind closed doors, nobody's watching the gym, the recovery, the cricketing part of it. So when it comes together, then you feel very gratified, so to say, for whatever you've done.
So you interviewed Virat while you all were in London, if I'm right, and that interview went absolutely crazy, and everybody said, "Oh my God, this guy is such a great presenter," and now you're here, and it's again like both of you not doing an interview, but now you're colleagues playing the same sport together. How do you approach these two things differently?
They're very different, Danish. I think obviously there I had the broadcaster hat on, so I think very differently. I want to obviously I'm thinking from the lines of what would people watching back home like to hear from a Virat, and what would people liking watch home like to hear from me. That sort of an angle. Now when I'm playing, I'm very single-mindedly focusing on what can I do to help RCB cross the line. What do I need to do? So thought process is very different, very very different. And then two different you need to obviously wear very different hats and figure out what's best.
No, because it's important we acknowledge this, right? This happened what, last year? The interview happened last year, the year before that?
Last year.
Last year. And in 1 year, when you finished a game recently in the green jersey and walked back in, there was footage everywhere, which is obviously like everyone's seen it on TV, where Virat is sort of bowing to you and telling you how good you are. And 1 year ago, you were doing that sitting on an interview chair. Is it, at some strange level, is it one of those victories that you kind of go back to and feel really happy about? Does it feel like that to you sometimes? Have you ever looked at it that way?
No, not at all.
No?
Not even close to it. There is no.
And I don't mean victory in a bad way.
No, I understand what you're saying.
I only mean like acknowledgement, or I mean, is the word acknowledgement, validation? I don't know. That probably those are the words that come to my mind.
No, look, I think obviously when I was speaking to Virat and asking questions, I'd done my research. I did it from a very different point of view as to how to get the best out of him. And I have a nice equation with Virat. I think I really like him as a person, and I think the way he's able to handle the situation right now, a lot of credit for that. And he still has a smile on his face, and I give him a lot of respect, and I know the love and affection that he deserves from the world he's getting, and it's just good to see him in good spirits. What he did at that stage was just something that he felt. Obviously, he's a very very emotional and
Correct.
Reactive person, and it was just a reaction to what I did at that stage. There's nothing more to it, more to that. He's forgotten it, I have moved on. There is no validation, or it just feels it just doesn't feel anything more than that. I don't know, I'm not able to explain it very well, but I just feel that as I said, if I was a very disgruntled cricketer, then I think it would feel very different. I'm very I think in many ways I'm content, I think, as a person. So that makes me look at things very differently.
Correct.
Now I can always either look at a Virat Kohli and think, wow, what a life he's living, how I wish. Or I can look at somebody who's obviously started the race with me and be like, okay, you know what, I'm in a much better place than I would like, I could have easily been in. So I've always looked at it that way. And when Virat reacted like that also, I think credit must not be given to me. I think credit must be given a lot to him, because, his graciousness, what he's achieved as a person, we got to understand. He's literally carried the team India for the last 10 years, and his consistency and mastery over the game,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has achieved it in the world of cricket for a very, very long time. His dominance for about close to a decade, that is unparalleled, I feel, because there is, to understand, there are three different formats. Playing three different formats itself is difficult, averaging 15, all of them. Traveling abroad, scoring runs. Well, I can speak about Virat a lot, but I think, gracious of him to do what he did. And yeah, I like that about him. It just not only to me, to the bowlers, to the young guys, he's very chill, very easy. So, I respect that about him.
If I had to ask you, DK, for one moment where you became this person, that one game-changing moment, what would that moment be? And this is my last question. Something that's made you the person that you are today.
Two things, I think. One majorly, as I said, I keep repeating myself, but Abhishek Nair, because I think one of the things that he made me focus on was that cricket is not just cricket is not life. I think there are other aspects to it as well. Let's focus. You have certain good things happening around you. Made me realize it, and it's one thing just talking about it, but he made me realize it consistently because he was there on an everyday basis, training, practicing. So, so that was very important. And also certain things happen in my life which grounds you and it makes you realize what is important and what is not. Everybody will go through that, not similar things, but slightly different things in their own way. And I think that obviously in my life as well happened, and I took a back step and looked at life slightly differently, and very blessed with whatever I have right now, and very grateful for what I have right now.
Thank you.